They're spending money to research what men think so they can create a podcast that men will respond to. Like men are some kind of alien species. Like masculinity has to be decoded in a lab. Well, here's the reality. You had the most influential male voice in America, Joe Rogan, a guy with 15 million listeners per episode, and you tried to deplatform him.
The Democrats literally, everyone needs to know this, the Democrats just spent $20 million on a study about how to talk and connect with young men. Or just men, I guess, in general, but mostly young men. Like, they cannot figure out on their own the reason why they've completely isolated men, young men. They can't figure it out. I mean, everyone's literally telling them, and they decided to spend $20 million to pay someone else to go listen to Joe Rogan and come back to them and report back. Oh, and also it's because they've already tried a bunch of other ways. I don't know if you guys saw the Tim Wells video of him, I don't know, fixing up his car. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he was trying to look manly and post it on YouTube, and obviously that didn't hit. So they are trying and failing so desperately. It's honestly so funny.
You dig in on what Democrats are researching right now, you're going to find a lot of silly stuff. You're going to find people asking a lot of questions, people asking about syntax and do I drop the G for this word and this and that, and it's going to be a lot of that. So let me just warn everybody, that process is going to be very obnoxious for this 40-something. I would also say, we're really talking about young men, right? Young men who Democrats have not figured out a consistent pitch for how to get in front of. And I think it starts with authenticity.
So we got to talk about the Democrat Party, a party that is a complete and total embarrassment. The clown show never seems to end, and Democrats are trying to figure out how to revive their party that is currently on life support. Okay, and part of the reason why the Democrat Party is in free fall is because they have lost men. Okay, men have rejected the Democrat Party, and I think part of the reason why is, like I told you guys before the election, there's no reason, right? There's no logical reason for a straight man with normal testosterone levels to vote for a Democrat, right? There's just no reason whatsoever. If you are a straight man and you vote Democrat, again, I'm just going to assume that your testosterone levels are low, right? Chronically low, and that you need to get checked out, okay? And once those testosterone levels get back into the normal range, then, you know, you gain back your senses, okay? And you won't vote Democrat. So Democrats realize that men are running away from their party, okay? And again, I think part of the reason why is because leading up to the election, Democrats made it clear that they really don't understand men, and they also don't like men.
The DraftKings Casino app, it's got something for everyone. Like tons of slots. Winner, early bird dinner.
Really don't understand men, and they also don't like men.
I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a man, man.
All the women here tonight, talk to all the men that aren't here tonight, and all you brave men that are here tonight, talk to all the other men that aren't here tonight.
Enough to cook my steak rare.
Man enough to deadlift 500 and braid it out of my daughter's hair.
It's actually for all men. You know, I think men are in crisis, actually, in this country. And not all men are just at home listening to Joe Rogan, being angry or being recruited to fascism. Some just need therapy.
The definition of masculinity going forward, is it toxic masculinity, or is it a different kind of masculinity?
Right.
This table is driven by women. There is masculinity, and the definition of masculinity is on the ballot. As far as your question about breaking through, I like what she did when she was talking about John McCain and giving his thumbs up, because she was very real. Like she's got to let it rip a little bit.
Yeah.
We have not yet seen the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. I also want to say that that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers.
You think I'm afraid to rebuild a carburetor? I eat carburetors for breakfast.
I ain't afraid of bears.
That's what bear hugs are for.
I'll tell you another thing I sure as shit am not afraid of. Women.
I'm not afraid of women. I'm not afraid of women.
They want to control their bodies? I say go for it.
They want to use IVF to start a family? I'm not afraid of families.
They want to be childless cat ladies?
Have all the cats you want.
Woman wants to be president? Well, I hope she has the guts to look me right in the eye and accept my full-throated endorsement. Because I'm man enough to support women.
Man enough to know what kind of donuts I like.
Man enough to admit I'm lost, even when I refuse to ask for directions.
Man enough to not ban young women from reading Little Women.
Or one of those pants books that the sisters like. I'm man enough to raw dog a flight. It sucked. Not worth it. I'm man enough to be emotional in front of my wife.
In front of my kids.
In front of my horse.
I'm man enough to tell you that I cry at Love Actually.
Good Will Hunting.
West Side Story. That and Predator.
And I'm sick of so-called men domineering, belittling, and controlling women just so they can feel more powerful.
That's not how my mama raised me.
I love women. I love women who support their families.
Women who decide not to have families.
Women who take charge. And I'm man enough to help them win.
Is it any real surprise in regards to why Democrats lost? I mean, this is not rocket science, right? When you look at why is it that men are rejecting the Democrat Party, it's very simple. Democrats don't want men, not real men, right? Not masculine men in their party.
I went on a left-leaning podcast that shall remain nameless, and we were talking about my kids, because I think they were both people without kids. And they asked me about my son, and I said he was, he's a football player, and he wants to be a policeman. And their joke was about my 15-year-old son, oh, how does he feel about minorities? Like the idea that he wants to be a policeman, therefore he's racist, my son. And that was the big laugh, and then I got dragged in the comments and all that stuff. And I thought to myself, this is why you fuckers are losing elections. 100%. Like my football playing son, who has no political views. He's 15. He thinks about World War II and gaming and playing linebacker. That's his world. You're deciding he's a racist because he wants to be a cop. And why does he want to be a cop? He wants to be a cop because he wants to help people, and he thinks that's the best way he can help people. And that's how the Democratic Party talks to men, not just white men, but men. And I get the idea that they thought Tim Walz could, what's the term he used, code switch or something? He thought that he could translate the Democratic Party values because he hunts and fishes and owns a gun and was in the army and drinks a beer. I mean, at least there was an attempt, but I find it just insane.
Okay, that's what makes it so hilarious, that they are literally spending $20 million to study how to talk to men. Okay, let me give Democrats a news flash. If you have to spend money to learn how to talk to men, you're done, right? You're cooked. You might as well just get rid of the whole party and start over again, right? Like, you're not going to be successful. It's just like some of these dudes that pay money to get a dating coach, right? Or to learn how to talk to women, right? If you got to pay money as a dude to learn how to talk to women, then you're cooked. You have no hope, okay? I'm just saying. Like, that's just kind of how it is. Same thing when it comes to Democrats. If you have to spend money to learn how to talk to men, yeah, you are... you're lost, right? You're a lost cause. So, like I said, man, Democrats are being roasted, right? They're being mocked.
A Sunday news report on Democrats' path forward had a detail that stunned and amazed political analysts and observers. In a weekend article entitled 6 months later, Democrats are still searching for the path forward, the New York Times reported on what comes next for the Democratic Party. One particular component of the Democratic Party institution's plan stood out to those on social media. That sections of the Times article reads as follows.
Isn't that the new jackpot ticket in that pile of laundry? $1 million down the drain!
Hey, laundry guy! Ticket!
Hit the ticket!
Ooh, well, that was almost a load of trouble.
Keep on scratching.
Quote, the prospectus for one new $20 million effort, meaning something the Democratic Party insiders, donors are going to spend $20 million on, obtained by the Times, aims to reverse the erosion of Democratic support among young men, especially online. It's codenamed SAM, short for Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, and promises investment to, quote, study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces, close quote. It recommends buying advertisements in video games, among other things. And scene.
Idiots, man.
Democratic Party, the DNC, Kamala Harris, the entire Democratic campaign apparatus during the 2024 election. You could go to their various websites and click on let's see, what are they doing for women? What are they doing for black people? What are they doing for black women? What are they doing for the LGBTQ community? What are they doing for the disabled? What are they doing for the trans community? And every fucking category.
Fucking idiots, man.
Except for men.
Our friends over at the New York Times are doing a series periodically looking into the Democratic Party and the challenges facing the Democrats as you try to run into the next election with some kind of momentum. And Shane Goldmacher, among others, is doing this research. And he talks about in an article over the weekend, a focus group led by a longtime Democratic researcher who asked some 250 people to describe or compare each party to an animal. And I want to read you what this found. Republicans are seen as apex predators like lions, tigers, and sharks, beasts that take what they want when they want it. Democrats are typically tagged as tortoises, slugs, or sloths, slow, plodding, passive. And then a little bit later, there was a respondee who said the Democrats are like deer in headlights. How is it that you think that the Democratic Party has earned these descriptions?
John, I'm not focused on the animals that some New York Times reporter compares the political parties to. My constituents are human beings, and the human beings that I represent are facing devastating healthcare cuts, the most significant healthcare cuts.
Yeah, so you know the Democrats are in a really bad place, which CNN is confronting them with devastating news about what voters think about their party, right? And as you saw there, Debbie Wasserman Schultz had no real answer for why is it that voters feel this way. All she wants to do is boo-hoo, whine, and cry about Trump. And that's why I've been telling you guys, literally since Trump got in office, I was like, if Democrats are going to play this game of, well, we're just going to hate Trump no matter what, and we're not going to actually stand for anything, then they're going to lose, right? And look at what's happening right now. Okay, they have not made any progress, right? It's been, 4 or 5 months with President Trump in office? They have not made any progress in reviving their party, right? In fact, I think it's gotten worse, okay? To be honest with you, okay? We're at the point now where we are still discussing the fact that Democrats committed a cover-up, the worst cover-up in political history, at least since Watergate, right, with Joe Biden. And now they are moving on to try to figure out how to get back men, right? And they're studying men like men are animals, right? Like men are some species, some unknown species that, they just have to learn more about, right? In order to appeal to. And this is exactly the problem with the Democrat Party. They treat everything like a science experiment. There's nothing authentic about the Democrat Party at all. These are the same people running around talking about, we need to create our own Joe Rogan, right? Like, what do you want? You don't just create a Joe Rogan. You just cannot create something out of thin air, right? I mean, there is no authenticity from the Democrat. The only authentic thing about the Democrat Party is their hatred for men, right? And their hatred for whites as well, too. That's what blows my mind. They openly say, we don't like men, especially masculine men, okay? Straight men, Christian men. We don't like, basically, most of the men in America. We don't like you guys, and we also don't like whites. And then they are shocked, and they have to do a study to figure out why is it that white people and men are not voting for us? You can't make this stuff up. Okay, you really can't. So, what I found to be more hilarious is that when discussing the issues of the Democrat Party, instead of getting a round table of masculine men, okay, to talk about this issue, no, they get a bunch of liberal women and skittle guzzling men, right, to talk about it, right? Which is exactly the problem. You don't even have masculine men in the party that you can talk to, right, about this, because there are no masculine men in the Democrat Party. It's nothing but high-calorie women and low testosterone men. That's it. Freaks and weirdos. That is the Democrat Party. That's it.
Of the sort of demographic and geographic shifts, I want to dig in on one of them right now, which is new voters. And I want you to listen to what Dan Pfeiffer, who of course is one of the hosts of Pod Save America and a longtime Obama aide, said.
Democrats lost new voters for the first time. Obama got 58% of new voters in 2012. Biden and Clinton got 55%. Kamala Harris only got 49.5% of new voters. The message I take from this is anyone who thinks that we can get away with just tinkering around the edges, just hoping that Donald Trump becomes unpopular, they nominate some Yahoo in 2028, or we're going to ride the wave of tariffs and inflation to a narrow House victory, is just rearranging the dictionaries on the Titanic.
Right, bruh. I gotta stress this because I don't think these people see what I'm seeing. What is clear as day. Every single man that comes out as a representative of the Democrat Party on the left side of the aisle is zesty, right? Every single last one of them. All of them. Fact. Okay, they all have the same profile. Fact. Super skinny, right? Feminine. Okay, they look weak, right? They defer to women. Okay, they worship women. Like, what is this? Right. Okay, even though, what this dude is saying is true, right? What he's saying is true. But it's like, if these are the people running things behind the scenes, then, again, it's no surprise. You have to get masculine men back in the party. I just don't think they have any. They don't. Again, where are the masculine, straight men, right? Where are they at? Where are they at? I think they're non-existent in the Democrat Party.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the big things one of the big takeaways of the 2024 election. There are a lot of reasons that I think new voters came over to Donald Trump's side, but one of the reasons was because of sort of the unique social media approach that his campaign did really well. You'll talk to Democrats, they'll admit it. You'll talk to Republicans, they always mention it. He would go to UFC fights. He would go on sort of these new podcasts, which are not traditionally political, and that's how he gained a lot of his voters. And you're seeing Democrats try to replicate that. You've seen Gavin Newsom sort of come out and do this new political podcast. You're seeing them try to find ways to replicate that. But I think one of the problems that Democrats have is they don't yet have a core belief system. They're still fighting over what they should believe in going forward and what they should stand for almost.
Well, I mean, they're fake. Right, and again, this is why the Gavin Newsom thing isn't working. His podcast is failing. Nobody's watching that because it's fake. He's a hardcore progressive. He's a progressive. He can't just come out and all of a sudden be like, "Oh, I'm moderate now," right? No, it doesn't work that way. Okay, it doesn't work that way at all. The reason why none of this stuff is working is because the Democrat Party is fake. Okay, you can't just wake up the next day and transform into something else. No, the whole party has to be rebuilt from the ground up. Okay, there is no other escape, right? There's no other alternative. But for whatever reason, Democrats think they can fake their way. They can do a study, right? We can do a study and pretend to be something that we're not in order to bring back men. It's not going to work. Look at this CNN panel. You have liberal women discussing male issues. Again, this is the problem. CNN, you can't find any masculine men to discuss this issue, right? No, they can't. Apparently not.
Or they do. It's just a lot of what that is doesn't seem to be resonating beyond the coast, and that's a big issue. So we mentioned new voters, which is also young voters, another way to say that. And now I want to talk about men. And here's something from the New York Times. This is written by our friend of the show, Shane Goldmacher. The prospectus for one new $20 million effort obtained by the Times aims to reverse the erosion of Democratic support among young men, especially online. It is codenamed SAN, short for Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, and promises investments to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and the virility in these spaces. It recommends buying advertisements in video games, among other things. So you're the man here. I will not mansplain you. All I will say is, duh.
Yeah, I know. Look, they should have probably recognized this a couple of cycles before when this trend was growing very apparent. This was a huge problem for them in the past election cycle. They need to figure it out because right now the Democratic message is really all over the place. What do they exactly stand for as they head into the midterm elections? But right now it's a hope, really.
For Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan, and promises investments to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and the virility in these spaces. It recommends buying advertisements in video games, among other things. So you're the man here. I will not mansplain you. All I will say is, duh.
Yeah, I know. Look, they should have probably recognized this a couple of cycles before when this trend was growing very apparent. This was a huge problem for them in the past election cycle. They need to figure it out because right now the Democratic message is really all over the place. What do they exactly stand for as they head into the midterm elections? But right now it's a hope, really, among the Democratic leaders that voters will recoil what they view as overreach from the Trump administration. They will make the argument that they need to be in check on Trump's power and to use Trump's push to move ahead with this so-called big beautiful bill, which
AKA they don't stand for anything except being against Trump.
Right.
And that's, again, the main reason why they're losing. Okay, if Democrats want to win back men, it's not rocket science. It doesn't need to be studied. It's very simple. Stop trashing men. Okay, stop trashing masculinity. Get some strong male figures in the Democrat Party to represent the party. Abandon far left woke politics, come back towards the center, right? Become moderate, okay? Become moderate. And at that point, maybe, just maybe, Democrats might start to appeal to men again. But, until then, they're going to be stuck with this, right? This is what they're going to start doing. Studies and panels full of feminists, right, and women talking about why men are running away from the Democrat Party. The party needs to be rebuilt from the ground up. The Democrat Party, as currently structured, is a party of women, right? I mean, look at the leadership. Look at the polls. The people that are leading the Democrat Party are all women. Kamala Harris, AOC, Jasmine Crockett. They're all women, right? They're all women. And if this is what the future of the Democrat Party is, again, if it's the Kamalas, if it's the AOCs, if it's the Jasmine Crockett's, they have zero chance of winning back men. I don't care how much money they spend studying men like animals, right? I don't just care how much they fake being moderate, right? Or, they try to do a wink and a nod towards trying to appeal to masculinity. It doesn't matter. The whole party has to be rebuilt. They have to make masculine men the leaders of the party again, right? And until that happens, they have no hope. But hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. I told y'all they won't win another election, y'all. Their playbook is trash. Understand me? Their playbook is trash. It's wide open. That shit all about mooks and LGBT mooks and illegal migrants and nothing for the American people. Nothing in that motherfucking plans for nobody but the motherfucking mooks and LGBT and illegal migrants. That's it. Their play is wide open. Their playbook is wide open. That shit trash. And the whole world see it. You know what I mean? It ain't like it's the ones that's hypnotized and bamboozled to foolishness that think the Democrat Party will come back and win. Nah, they showed us who they was. They made people line up and take an experiment and all types of shit, man. They came in the game fucking up. You understand me? Instead of looking out for the American people, they was against the American people. And that's a fact. I mean, they made a lot of people line up and and take an experiment. You hear me? They made the whole damn near world line up and take an experiment, y'all. And no one was held accountable. And to this day, they still out this bitch capping, thinking they gonna win your vote. Get the fuck out of here. Ain't nothing going on. Nothing going on but the rent, goddammit. Y'all blew it. Y'all had a chance and y'all blew that shit. Y'all was so quick to get in office, and when y'all got in office, y'all blew it. What you was gonna do for the American people, what you was gonna do, and y'all got in that motherfucker and showed the American people y'all true colors. God damn it. And like I said, when the motherfucker tell you and show you who they are, believe them, ladies and gentlemen. Believe what I'm telling you. That's why they'll never win another motherfucking election. Never, ever, ever win another election. Ladies and gentlemen, their playbook has been exposed. Facts, not fiction, y'all. 100% facts, not fiction. We run around this motherfucker scrambling right now. They run around here scrambling, and it's over. The American people seen it with their own eyes, goddammit, and witnessed it. That you will never win another election in history, goddammit. Y'all probably gotta fuck putting reparations on the table, studying in it. That's out the door. What y'all gotta do to win back the votes, and I'm gonna keep it all the way funky with y'all. Y'all gotta dismantle child support, one, right? Y'all gotta dismantle child support, give all those loyalty parents a refund in their arrears, goddammit. And we ain't even talking reparations because y'all just want to study that. That's not even in the picture. You understand me, ladies and gentlemen? So, how about giving back every last parent that y'all threatened to lock up or did lock up behind fucking child support and refunding them their arrears, goddammit. And abolish that LGBT mook syndrome y'all have, and y'all just might win another election. I said you just might win another election. But y'all playbook has been exposed, and we cannot trust you, especially you house niggas. Most definitely can't trust y'all. Y'all motherfuckers been selling niggas out since slavery, goddammit. And the gig is up. The gig is up like a motherfucker. You understand me? That's a fact, y'all. That's why I said what was in that jab. What was in that jab 19? Got these niggas acting like mooks out here. You understand me? What was in that jab 19 They got you niggas out here acting like mooks. 100% mooks. You understand me? 100% mooks. That's the card killer right there. That fucking street. You know I gotta get a motherfucking plug and shit, so let me kill some time until one of these tire spots open up. Get me a motherfucking plug. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it's over for the cracks, man.
At Domino's, now you can carry out a one-topping pizza with any of our 5 crust types, and you can order any way you want.
We're going to go down to El Salvador. We're trying to make sure we can check in on Kilmar and make sure he's in good health.
This is another house nigga going to El Salvador. Let's get into it. These house niggas is crazy, y'all. That's why they can't be trusted, y'all. That's why they can't be trusted. And they'll never win another election, y'all, because they not here for the American people at all.
And talk to him about the efforts to bring him back. But the overall goal is to make sure we keep the pressure on the Trump administration to comply with the court orders from the Supreme Court.
Yeah, that's Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey. He's the latest Democrat to head to El Salvador to visit alleged MS-13 gang member, suspected human smuggler, and don't forget, accused wife beater Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Ivey falsely is claiming that Abrego Garcia is a constituent, even though he's actually a criminal illegal alien. As we showed you, Ivey joins a long list of Democrats who rushed to Abrego Garcia's side. He follows Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen and 4 other lawmakers. Van Hollen even found some time to grab a drink, we think it was a margarita, with Abrego Garcia, while President Trump has continued to show off Abrego Garcia's MS-13 gang tattoos to show who this man really is.
I'm the congressman that represents Kilmar. I came all the way down from the United States after we contacted their ambassador, after we'd made formal requests to our ambassador to the El Salvadoran government. And we came here to visit him today, and now they're telling us we got to go all the way back to San Salvador to get a permit. That's ridiculous. We ought to have a chance to come in and visit. They knew we were coming. They knew why we were coming. And they know we have the right to do this. So they need to just cut the crap, let us get in there and have a chance to see him and talk with him. We got his lawyer here. We got somebody from the unions here to talk with him. Let us in. Stop playing games. Let us have a chance to talk with him.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Once again, we got to talk about Democrat Party making absolute fools out of themselves, okay? Because we should all be aware of how much Democrats love illegal immigrants, right? They love them so much that they're flying overseas to try to bring them back to the United States of America, right? They want to import illegals into the country, okay? This is what they want to do. We've had Democrats be arrested trying to save illegal immigrants from ICE detention centers, okay? This is where the current state of Democrat Party is, okay? So with that being said, we got to talk about Maryland Representative Glenn Ivey, who decided to copy Chris Van Hollen, who is a Democrat senator from Maryland, by going to El Salvador to try to save Abrego Garcia. Now, they claim that this is for visitation. Well, we want to do a wellness check. Now, how many of these individuals have done wellness checks on their own constituents? Who knows, right? But this is what they're doing. They're doing wellness checks on illegal immigrant, alleged gang member, wife beating, human traffickers, right? This is what they're doing. And unsurprisingly, this guy, Glenn Ivey, got denied by El Salvador when he pulled up to try to save Abrego Garcia, okay? And he's pissed off, right? He's fuming over the fact that they're not allowing him to see Abrego Garcia. Take a look.
Again, I was here in El Salvador 2 years ago, but I came this time to visit with Kilmar, and I was deeply disappointed and frankly angry that we were not allowed to get in to see him. We had reached out. I'd had a meeting with the ambassador from El Salvador to the United States. We met last week, and I told them we were coming and we wanted to meet with Kilmar, so they were aware of that. We also had direct communications with other members of the government, so they knew we were coming. And we talked with our ambassador, who also reached out to the government here. So The fact that they didn't let us in fact, they told us at the gate that we had to go back to San Salvador to get a permit, which is ridiculous. This is an international visit. I'm a member of Congress. I should have the opportunity to visit with my constituent. And the United States has a contract with El Salvador. Apparently, we haven't been allowed to see that yet, but the United States has a contract with El Salvador, and the money that comes from that has to be authorized by Congress because we have the power of the purse. So I had an oversight opportunity here that was not permitted, and I think that was a big mistake on the part of the El Salvadoran government. But the bigger issue is the Trump administration. Because I know that President Trump could pick up the phone, make a call to El Salvador, and have Kilmar released and sent back to the United States. If he made the call, he'd be back within hours. So the Trump administration...
Listen to this house nigga, y'all. Sad, man. It's sad, man.
Has been dragging its feet. The Supreme Court of the United States told them to facilitate Kilmar's return. They have not done that, which I think is a clear violation of the Constitution. And it's important for us in Congress to support the judges in the United States who are making these rulings and to continue pressuring the Trump administration to comply with the law.
Yeah, see, now you heard that. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. These people are calling illegal immigrants their constituents, right? I want you guys to understand the language that Democrats use tells you everything you need to know about how they feel about illegals. They feel like illegals are basically American citizens, right? This is what they feel. This is why they want the illegals to stay. This is why they use your taxpayer dollars, our taxpayer dollars, to feed the illegals, to house the illegals. They give them driver's licenses. They want them to vote, right? They don't want the GOP to be able to stop the illegals from voting. The reason why is because they feel like these illegals are their constituents. In fact, they value the illegals more than they value the American people, okay? That is the honest to God truth, okay? The fact this man is calling an illegal immigrant his constituent tells you everything you need to know about how cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs the Democrat Party has become, okay? So without further ado, let's learn a little bit more about this visit.
Congressman Glenn Ivey tells WJZ he was denied access to speak with Kilmar Abrego Garcia today after flying down to El Salvador over the holiday weekend. Abrego Garcia was living in Prince George's County and working in Baltimore when he was mistakenly deported to his home country in March. WJZ
mistakenly deported to his own country. Like I told you guys, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. These people are boohoo-whining and crying about Trump deporting illegals to South Sudan, right? They was upset about that, okay? Because, well, they weren't deported to their home country. But they're also boohoo-whining and crying about Abrego Garcia being deported to his home country, which tells you everything you need to know, right? That they just don't want the illegals to be deported, period.
He is live at 11. Tara Lynch spoke exclusively one-on-one with Congressman Ivey over the phone. So, Tara, I guess the congressman says he was not allowed inside the prison. What does he do now? Inside the prison, what does he do now?
Cry like a bitch.
Well, Denise, the congressman told me he needed a permit to access the prison, which he called ridiculous, saying he just wanted to check on Abrego Garcia's condition. Ivey told me one-on-one exclusively tonight that he wanted to also pass along some messages from Abrego Garcia's wife as well as his attorneys, because right now, Abrego Garcia is being held incommunicado and hasn't spoken to these people in months.
We were trying to meet with Kilmar. And that did not come together. I was frankly very angry about it.
Congressman Glenn Ivey was in El Salvador for 3 days with the goal of meeting with Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the man who was living in Prince George's County and mistakenly deported earlier this year. The congressman spoke one-on-one only with WJZ, saying the U.S. ambassador informed the Salvadoran government of the visit, but still, he was denied access.
You can't come in, you got to have a permit or something, which is pretty ridiculous, it's an international delegation here.
He also wanted to check on the conditions at the lower security facility Abrego Garcia was moved to last month. Ivey says he wants to see how American tax dollars are being used to house these deportees in the contract between the U.S. and El Salvador.
Congress doesn't even have access to that information yet. At least, Democrats don't. We need to get that. We've got the power of the purse. We've got a constitutional obligation to make sure that money is being used in the right way. But we can't figure that out if we don't even know how much is being spent.
Again, what's so crazy about this is that this Democrat, all of a sudden is so concerned about how government money is being used, right? And we got to make sure that the money is being used the right way. But yet, this is the same guy who was raging over Elon Musk, making sure that government money is being used the right way.
Part of the what we want to try and do to prepare for 2026, because we've got to win. House Democrats have to win in 2026. Got to do it. And this is the step to take. So you get, we're doing letters right now. For example, one of my colleagues, Jerry Conley, I think it was, sent a letter out demanding that Elon Musk come and testify before the Oversight Committee in the House. Now, here's the thing. The minority doesn't have the authority to issue a subpoena to make him come. Right? Only the majority can do that. Only the Republicans can do that. And they ain't going to do that. But in 2027, after we get elected in 2026, I bet Elon Musk's subpoena, that's going to be number one that goes out. That's going to be number one. So, yes, ma'am, we are.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. I want you guys to understand, this is how Democrats think, right? They don't care about how the government uses funds for anything else, right? No matter how much they waste, they don't care. These people don't care. Now all of a sudden, the federal government is using money, justifiably, to house illegal immigrants in other countries very cheaply, right? And now all of a sudden, Democrats care about the use of funds, right? They want to do some oversight on the funds. They want to hold Elon Musk accountable for making sure that funds are being used properly, right? That there's not waste, fraud, and abuse. Again, it's just amazing, absolutely amazing how these people think.
Capitol Hill, Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, who visited Abrego Garcia last month, questioned Secretary of State Marco Rubio about why court information is under seal and not being released publicly about Abrego Garcia's case.
And I have to tell you directly and personally that I regret voting for you for Secretary of State. What I won't comply with is an order to disclose what I'm saying and what we're talking about with a foreign leader, because then they won't talk to me. Diplomacy doesn't work that way.
We're going to continue to press the Trump administration to have him return, like the Supreme Court said should happen, and so he can have a day in court and have a due process.
Now, the Maryland federal judge who is overseeing Abrego Garcia's case has set a myriad of deadlines between now and August, and what's really shaping up to be a very complicated legal situation. It's not going to end very quickly like the judge initially wanted it to. For now, reporting live on your corner in Baltimore City, Tara Lynch, WJZ.
Again, the easiest way to solve this would be to bring them back and then immediately deport them, right? Immediately deport them again to somewhere else, right? South Sudan, right? And then let them cry about that. At least at that point, they won't have the excuse of, well, he's not supposed to go to El Salvador, right? They claim he didn't get due process, but he did get due process. They just think the due process means illegals should be allowed unlimited appeals, right? This is what they believe. Okay, they believe that when a judge tells an illegal, hey, you can't stay here, you got to go back, that the illegal should just be able to appeal it forever, right? That is what they believe due process is. So they also don't really understand oversight. They believe that because they're doing quote unquote oversight, they should just be able to pull up on any detention center or to pull up to some foreign country and demand that illegals be released. And that's not how oversight is supposed to work, which is
God created you for more, and your time is now.
Prior to today, I did not understand what life service
oversight is supposed to work, which is something that the woke Democrat from New Jersey, who is facing charges for attacking ICE, right, assaulting ICE on camera, LaMonica McIver, found out the hard way. So, without further ado, let's get into it.
Well,
what these members are saying is legally absurd. It's not oversight to show up at a facility and try to force your way in. If that were as part of...
I'm trying to wait for one of these tire spots to open up so I can get this fucking plug.
Inspectors general running around the country just barging
Slowly.
into federal offices. That's clearly not true. So what they're saying in the media today is not likely to be repeated in the courtroom. They can certainly say that they were there as part of their oversight function, but to actually force your way into a federal facility to break through a security line or go through a security gate is not part of any oversight authority that I know of. Now, you can go and you can subpoena agencies, you can even get a court order to get access to areas, but you're not allowed to just muscle your way in at the head of a mob.
Okay, so Rep. McIver appeared on another network earlier this morning, Jonathan, and placed the blame squarely on ICE for the escalation. Listen.
Entire situation was escalated by ICE. They caused the confrontation. The Justice Department and Alina Hopper wanted me to admit to doing something that I did not do, and I was not going to do that. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to roll over and stop doing my job because they, don't want me to, or they want to neglect the fact that we needed to be in there to see what was going on in that detention center.
Your reaction to that?
It's a damn shame that we live in a country where it has become normal for one political party to just lie about reality, right? Right? Like we see it on video. You assaulted an ICE agent, right? We saw it. Instead of just admitting it, right? And just saying, hey, yeah, like I did it or whatever. Nah, I didn't do that, right? I didn't do what they're accusing me of doing, even though it's on camera. And the worst part about it is that the media plays the footage while this individual is denying what we're seeing right in front of our eyes. And the anchor doesn't press the Democrat on why is it that you're lying to the American people about basic reality, about what we're watching on video. It's really stunning. It really is.
That, Jonathan?
Well, you're certainly allowed to go to a federal facility to see if there's something unlawful going on. You're just not allowed to go to that facility and commit something unlawful. And that's what this video shows. They were told they could not come in. They did not have prior approval. The gate was open to allow a car or truck to go through. And then they tried and succeeded in breaching that security gate. That's nothing in that is legal. Nothing in that is part of oversight. That is stepping beyond what you have authority to do. Now, she may have a great advantage here. Much like Judge Dugan in Wisconsin, this trial would be held in a fairly favorable district. A jury could very well engage in jury nullification and just vote on the cause and not the crime. But there is a cognizable crime here. Now, does that mean that she's looking at 8 years? No. This is still a relatively minor skirmish here. But to say that this was within the domain of Article 1 and congressional authority is facially ridiculous.
Yeah, it is ridiculous. Just like going to El Salvador to save an illegal immigrant is ridiculous, right? That is essentially what the Democrat Party has become, a party of ridiculous people. Absolutely. So, again, this is what we have here, right, with Democrats. I'm not sure how Democrats are going to move forward with trying to win back the American people with this type of extremism in their party, right? They become extremists on illegal immigration. And the crazy part about it is that they don't even know it. They don't even realize how extreme they become on this issue because they hate Trump so much. They feel like they have to oppose Trump no matter what, that they've exposed themselves as far left as you can get, right? You can't be more possibly far left.
Oh, they open. They open.
Immigration as the Democrat Party is right now. Okay, they're flying to other countries to bring illegals back into the country. They're fighting ICE, right? They're assaulting ICE on behalf of illegals. Okay, that along with Joe Biden's open border policies,
All right, they hooked me up, y'all. I got a plug. Now I gotta see if the other mechanic, because I was supposed to drop it off to get this air checked out. So that's where we going at now. Get this air checked out. Got that quick plug, $15. But I got some other brand new tires that I'm gonna put on here all the way around. He sold me $25 a tire. That's cool. That's cool as a fan. But I'm about to end the video, ladies and gentlemen. See if my man Ron up in here. And I'll take it from there. Or drop it off. I had his hair. Might need an air compressor, he was telling me. We most definitely gonna find out. He ain't here yet. He ain't here yet, y'all. I don't know if I'm... Poor... I don't want to block the door up. I think he was telling me before about blocking that door up like that. So I'm gonna park right there. Pull right here, y'all. Let's see what we got going on today. Let me pause that. All right, y'all, I'm gonna end the video. Just dropped him off. Make my way to the quarters. Democrats, y'all never win another election again. Yeah. It's right around the corner where I got the tire done at, right around here, and then dropped him off right there on 4th. Everything is in walking distance to the headquarters. You heard? Everything is in walking distance of the headquarters. Facts. Facts. Convenient. But about to end the video. End the video. Democrats been sellouts, y'all. Their playbook trash. Like my man Greg said, they gotta build, they gotta start all over. They gotta start from the ground up. They gotta build. They gotta heal before they build, cause they ain't healed yet. Yeah, man. 2701 Club. Like I said, y'all, they gotta heal before they build. And goddamn it, they ain't heal at all. Goddamn it. They ain't heal at all. They ain't learned their lesson. They ain't learned the lesson. You understand me? They didn't learn the lesson, goddamn it. They became the lesson. You heard? Straight up. They only did it to themselves, y'all. They only did it to themselves. The American people was putting them first. They was putting the American people last. You understand me? Peace.